You're listening to the Things You Don't Hear in Church podcast, a show where your hosts, Derry and Ethan, discuss the controversial topics often avoided by the church. They also discuss culture, society, and everyday goofs. And now, Derry and Ethan.
We're live.
We are alive. Welcome back to the Things You Don't Hear in Church podcast, talking about the gray areas of the Christian faith, helping you understand the world biblically, all that good stuff. Christians don't have to have answers that are shallow for hard questions, and that's why we are here. Man,
Yes.
I was gonna make a joke about, for heaven's sake, let's just start the show because we're talking about heaven
That'd be
today.
bad.
But then I didn't do it. So
Yeah.
sad time for me.
Yes. This is a fun episode. You know, I think people love to talk about heaven and hell, but it's also speculative. It's hard to
That's what you think.
narrow anything down, right? So I think we're going to try to nail down as much as we can
Very
today.
factual for me.
Yeah, and maybe theorize, talk about what we think heaven is going to be like, maybe more of like the physics of it, just like how it works and stuff like that, what we can and can't do. Is it just going to be like one long like worship session? It's going to be boring the whole time? Like, you know, like a lot of people don't enjoy like musical worship, right? We didn't even talk about like what worship is too.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting.
Right.
So where do you want to start off?
I just want to say, yeah, it's not, at least if you ask me, it's not going to be a big worship service.
Yeah.
Remember, as like a teenager.
That's like
thinking,
99% of the time.
Like I think
Really
like
bathroom breaks every like 20 minutes.
look at an intermission. It's like a conference that you got dragged to, right?
Yeah.
And
It's like, wow, this is a really long conference.
And it's gonna be like, wow. So remember that worship service you were in where they repeated the bridge 17 times?
More than that, bro.
Just stay there. That's what it is. And you're thinking, okay, like, I'd like to do another song. No, that's not what it is. It's not
You're
gonna be a big.
Good father. Who you are.
I gotta be honest, bro.
You are.
It's just boring to me now. It's just so mundane and like bland of
Yeah.
a song now. I'm like,
Yeah.
guys,
It's
you're
hard.
a good.
It's a hard
I
one.
know he's a good father. Like, why? Can we just? But I also like stuff like, there's a song I listen to called "Saved by Grace" by Israel Houghton. I think that's how you say his last name. Gospel song.
Yeah.
That's vibey.
He's a great guy.
That's jams.
Yeah.
I don't. There's this, or like the white people version of what's that song that's not theologically bad, but it's just a bad song.
I don't know.
Everyone loves it. Oh, bummer. Because I say the white people version because my friend said there's a gospel version that's way better, and I haven't heard it, but I trust him. Oh, it's that one that everyone loves and talks about.
Oh, Waymaker.
Waymaker, yeah.
Yeah,
That's just like the way they did it. I don't know, maybe Bethel or Hillsong, whoever did it. That's not gospel
it's just
version.
musically terrible.
It's just so, it's so boring.
Yeah,
And I'm like, everything
it's
about
hard.
it's theologically so good, and your execution
Yeah.
was so bad.
Yeah.
Please come back for more critiques on worship songs. Everyone's like, I love that song. I'm like, I'm sorry.
Man, I had
People-
something good to say about
I was gonna say people also love country music, but I like country music now.
Yeah,
so
yeah. Country music's good. For sure.
yeah.
Man, I had a good joke, and I forgot it when you made a stupid joke about Waymaker. Dang it.
Waymaker, miracle.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say we should sing-
I'm unoriginal with the way I like to sing. Sorry.
We should instead of singing "You're a good father," we could say "You're a fierce warrior." That's who you
You're
are.
a fierce warrior. It's who you are.
Just sing
Yeah.
like the super like not popular attributes of God from the Bible.
You're an angry guy. to sin. To Christians, he says
an
he'll
angry
never
elf.
be angry. Oh, I wouldn't say that about God. So God's not angry. At Christians, just so you guys know, he says he's sworn to never be angry again. But the wrath of God does abide on sinners.
Mm.
So we could talk about that dichotomy someday.
And he does hate sinners as well.
But he also loves sinners.
Yes.
His
Dichotomy.
love overcomes his hate through the cross, and his justice
Read
is not.
Proverbs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His justice is not sacrificed in.
His mercy has triumphed.
His mercy is triumphed over justice.
Yes.
Man, God's so awesome.
Judgment.
Like what
Not
did?
over
Oh,
justice,
sorry, not justice.
judgment.
Yeah. What did John Piper said? The wisdom of God made it so that God could accomplish so the mercy of God could be accomplished without sacrificing the justice of God.
Yeah, exactly.
Or the wisdom of God has satisfied through mercy of God the wrath of God without. It's something like that. Where there's all these different things, attributes of God, and it's like. God is like infinite in wisdom, and this is such a great place to start for talking about heaven. Is talking about God, right?
Yeah.
Like if you guys think about if you just sit and ponder, like honestly, right now you could just pause the show and just think about God for 2 minutes, maybe 5 minutes. Just think about
Maybe 10 minutes.
maybe an hour. Maybe you'll get lost in this because I get lost in this all the time I'm just like pondering like what is God like? If the Bible's true, which I believe it is, and God exists, what does that mean about who God is and what that means for my life as under service to him? You would spend eternity just thinking about God and never even scratch the surface of the infinite ocean of who God is. And that's why I think heaven will be so exciting, right? Because I get lost thinking, like pondering like, oh God, like you're so kind. You're so nice. You're so gentle and like understanding, and you're non-judgmental, and I can like vent to you, and you're not gonna just write me off, and you're gonna like say like counsel me in wisdom and say, hey, are you gossiping, or like what's going on? But like, let's talk about it. And you're so kind and nice, and it's like, and then you just think about like, no matter how many years I spend writing or pondering or podcasting about who God is, I will hardly scratch the surface of the reality of what it means that a God exists, because he's infinite. And you could go as deep as you want for as long as you want, and you will still be no further than scratching the surface. And in my heart, what that does is makes me fall on my knees and just say, glory be to God. Like, I can't understand you. You're holy, you're worthy, you're incomprehensible, yet you're personal, and you've made yourself knowable, but I can't ever totally understand you. And it's amazing. And that makes me so joyous to know that, like, I have eternity just to figure things out, and still knowing the daunting reality that I'll never actually understand. I'll never actually 100% like fully grasp God, but I get to experience him, and I will fully be able to experience him.
Everything you just said goes exactly against what you just said in the last episode of we would know everything.
Well, I'm pretty sure we talked myself out of that.
Okay. Just making sure.
Didn't I say that? Didn't I say, oh, maybe not?
Yeah. But now you know for sure.
No, but I maybe am right.
Okay. Just disregard everything Ethan just said in the last 5 minutes, because he doesn't even believe it himself.
It's not true. Oh, maybe I'm wrong now. Maybe I'm wrong before. But
I guess we'll know pretty soon when we all die.
Yeah.
When God comes back in 2022.
Yo, I heard...
Check out the next episode for us predicting the end of the world. Just kidding.
There's
Or
actually like prophecy prediction.
Unless.
We kind of like a screen that talks about all the world events that are happening. And guess what?
We shouldn't do that.
No, we shouldn't. I was just saying, guess what? All those things have probably also been happening throughout...
For a long time.
All of history.
Yeah.
We just have more media to cover it now.
Yeah. Which also I think is biblical.
It's good. Yeah.
I mean, like, if you think about the prophets... Okay, we can talk about this another time. We've talked about it for a long time.
Just so you know, 99% of biblical prophecy is already fulfilled, so...
Oh, I know.
In your face.
But I was talking about, like, the two prophets that it says the world will see them, right?
Well, flat Earth.
Oh, yeah. Forgot that. No, but, like, if media exists, right, and say, like, they televise it, like, everybody would see them, so it's interesting. Yeah. Anyways, talking about heaven, now that we're 8 minutes into it, we haven't talked about it at all.
I have. I fulfilled my requirements, and I'm going to go take my break.
So, we don't think, at least me and Ethan, don't think that heaven is just going to be one, like, long worship service, right? Maybe let's quantify worship really fast.
Yeah.
Just talk about it. I gotta stop using the word quantify. I'm using it way too much.
It makes you sound smart.
No, it just makes you sound pretentious.
Let's try to actualize what the word worship
actualize.
Is. We're gonna actualize the concept of worship.
Everybody just close your eyes. We're just gonna actualize our potential really fast.
Actualize my potential. Oh, man.
Envision it.
Yeah. So, Derry, what is worship in your opinion?
Yeah. So there's so many different versions of worship the Bible talks about. There's a few different words that are talked about. There's different even postures talked about in worship, right? But
yoga.
just yoga.
No.
Dude, that we should make it. There are technically, there's two different like poses that are struck for different worship. No, I'm not kidding. In the Bible, there's two different poses struck for worship. I'm not even kidding. There's one word that is both an action and a heart posture, and one is to be face to face, and the other is to bow in reverence.
That's not yoga. That's just bowing.
No, I'm just saying we could create a two-pose version of yoga, of one being face-to-face to someone, and one being, like, prone in front. Anyways. So, worship, right, in my opinion, and I think you could argue biblically, right? You can't find this sentence anywhere, what I'm about to say, but in the Bible, at least, is whatever brings God glory is giving him worship. Because I think the word worship means... you're giving God worth, or you're showing him worthship. You're giving him his worship, right? That's what I think worship is. So say I enjoy like some soda or sparkling water, and I'm not being gluttonous or anything like that, right? I'm just like enjoying one. I think God creating that and me enjoying it is me giving him worship. I also think that me climbing a mountain.
God did not create pop.
Okay.
You're glorifying the human, so watch it there, buddy.
I think maybe me enjoying music, right?
Yeah.
God created music. Me enjoying rhythm.
Certain musics.
Yeah, me enjoying like just the bass, like rhythm and all the things that God created, right? I think that's me also giving God worship. I think me being smart with my finances and the things God has given me to be responsible is me giving God worship.
Yeah.
I think when I love the people around me and treat them maybe sometimes how they don't deserve to be treated is me giving God worship, right?
Unless they deserve to be treated well and you poop on them.
Okay.
Not
then
physically,
then
but
that wouldn't be me
on.
giving God worship.
Right, that's what I'm saying. You said treat people how they don't deserve. So they don't deserve
Oh,
to treat
yeah,
bad,
I see what you mean.
and you yell at them. It's like,
Yeah,
that's not good.
Yeah,
not a good time for you.
Not good.
Bad time.
Not biblical.
Very bad time.
Yeah. So those things are also giving God worship, right? And in all those things I describe a pretty normal life. Right?
Yeah.
I listen to worship, or I listen to music, right? I climb mountains that I was talking about.
You don't.
Right? Sometimes I do.
You don't go
I
hiking.
swim a lot.
You don't hike.
I explore and stuff like that.
Scuba diving is reverse hiking.
It is. It literally
It's
is.
hiking in the water.
Yeah, it's hiking in the water. I go water hiking.
I go water hiking.
You guys ever been water hiking? It's great. Let's go.
You ever been like air scuba diving? Wanna go air snorkeling?
So
yeah, I
funny.
used to say that like people used to say worship is not a lifestyle. It's a thing you do. I used to agree like yeah, it's not, and I think now I disagree because I think like you said, anytime you're showing worth to God or showing that you value what He's given you to do is an act of worship of like enjoying what He's put around you.
Yeah.
Right. So even like going on a walk, like I went on a walk a couple weeks ago and just like was praying and looking at the valley and just like meditating. That is worship. Or just sitting down and like, wow, God, thank you for all this technology that you've provided for this podcast. Like just realizing what it is and now using the stuff that He's given us to provide a means of glorifying Him through the podcast like we do is
Hopefully.
worship. Or hopefully, yeah. I think we do. Our hearts are in it,
Yeah.
right? And so this is in a way, and it's worship. Like this podcast in itself, our hearts are that this would worship God or be worshipful towards God because we want to glorify Him.
Right.
And so even us just talking or you listening as a desire to know more about God, you're showing God worship by listening to wisdom that's helping you grow in maturity of Christ.
Yeah.
So
Think of it this way. Think of it like, say you're listening to a song, right? And you think to yourself, wow, I'm enjoying something God gave me and created.
now I would say
And-
it depends what song.
Yeah.
You know, if
But
you're
just
listening to immoral
music in general.
it's questionable.
Me giving that emotion of enjoyment to something God created, that is my response in worship to something God made for me to experience, right? So that in itself is me telling God, this thing you made is good. I'm reacting positively to something that He created for me. So I'm reacting in that way to Him. And that is me telling Him, I love the thing you made. I'm enjoying it. And that is me giving God worship. I'm saying something you made by my reaction to it is I'm saying how much it's worth to me because of my reaction, thus giving God His worthship, right? So that's how I think about worship, right? So I think our whole lifestyles can be worship to God, not only in musical worship, in playing songs or singing or praying to Him, right? All those things can be more direct versions of worship. But I think just your lifestyle in general can be worship. So there's going to be a lot of things in heaven. We can get in maybe to more of the nitty gritty a little bit.
I would say almost everything you do in heaven is in a way worship
It's going to
because
be worship to God.
you're in a glorified body and the intent of your existence is to glorify God.
Yeah.
And so whatever He's given us the opportunity to do and we do that, it's worship.
Yeah.
Because we're saying, oh, you've given this to me, I'm going to do it because I'm so grateful for your provision.
So in a way, you could say that heaven will just be one long worship service.
Yeah. But not in the way that we're sitting in rows
Oh, man.
like singing, you're a good, good Father. It's who you are. We're going to be like, I don't know, maybe we'll have, what if we create new sports? That'd be fun.
Oh, we will.
Well, you don't know. What do you mean we will? You don't know.
I think we'll have limitations. No, are you kidding?
Yeah, I know, but it's like, you just like an absolute, like, oh yeah, everyone knows
No,
that, dude.
absolutely, we will. There's
You
not
have
there's
no
not
idea.
a question.
You have no idea.
Think about how dumb it would be to
could
not
be.
create new sports when we're in heaven.
No, I know, but it could be that like
Think about
you could be so enveloped in
No.
just like
Listen
lost in
right
your
now.
thoughts,
No, listen
or
right- listen.
you could just be like this, like dumbfounded for in awe of God for the rest of eternity, just like just because you're so blown away, and so you might not even have a concept of like I don't even want to play sports, I just want to look at God, and so you don't know,
Dude, imagine every sport that we have, and the assumption that we will have the same resurrected body Christ had, where we can go through walls, right? Imagine every sport, but you cannot go through walls, right? Like imagine we're playing,
Laser tag
we're playing
is insane.
dodgeball, but you can go through walls now, right?
The ball can't though.
No, the ball can't. Absolutely. So like you gotta catch someone off guard, and you can go through like mazes and
Yo,
stuff.
imagine running through a wall, like you go through a wall, and as soon as your face comes through a wall, it's a ball just hits you immediately.
Yeah,
You're
hits
just
you
like,
right in the face. Can you imagine?
God damn it.
Dude, we'd be so good at like different sports because of like all of those different aspects. It'd be crazy.
Yeah, I just think it's funny how absolutely.
No,
you made
absolutely we will create
You
new
can't-
sports. There's no question about it. There's absolutely no
There
question.
is question.
There's no
about
doubt
it.
in my mind.
There's nothing you can point to that says 100%
No,
except your
100,
opinion.
99%, absolutely 99% we will.
Oh my god.
Could you imagine if we didn't though? Like we have these glorified
I don't-
bodies
like,
that
what
can
if
do
you
so
just
much
don't
more.
have a concept of it? What if you just don't care? Like I think that sometimes
Why
I
would
think,
we not care? God created us
I don't
with the
know.
ability to have competition.
Yeah, I know,
and-
but you might just not care. You might just be like, huh, I'm so like in my mind I think like it's okay, I'm not flirting on with you.
Yeah,
it's
it's
okay, Laura.
Babe.
One time Laura called Derry babe, so we make fun of her for it.
Yeah, Laura is Ethan's girlfriend,
Right. We've got
Yeah.
that's her name.
Yeah. but she calls me babe.
She
so
So who's
everybody's
girlfriend is?
confused.
Who knows? Maybe we're Mormons. It might be okay.
Shout out Laura. I'd be like reverse Mormon. I'd be like really progressive Mormon.
Really, really progressive Mormons.
Yeah.
Anyways, like I just think like, what if you get there and you have the opportunity, the ability to do all these things, but you kind of just don't care, because you're kind of just like in my mind, I think like relaxing. I just think about being like on a waterfront with some still water, drinking some coffee. Like, but I won't be doing that for eternity. But I just think like whatever you find most enjoyment in, there are people out there who are super athletic and competitive, so they might find the most enjoyment in sports. So probably that too. But I just think like, what if we just don't care? Like, what if we have the ability to, but it's not that big of a deal to us anymore. You know, it's like playgrounds when we were kids used to be the most exciting thing, and now we see them. It's
I
there.
still have fun on playgrounds. Still go hard.
Every day you're still
Every day.
swinging as high as you
Yeah.
can.
I think that is not what's going to happen.
Yeah, I'm just speculating. I'm not saying it is.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
saying absolutely.
Your
See,
speculation is very wrong.
You're saying absolutely we will do these things, and I'm saying you have no way to actualize that reality. He's like, I hate you.
I do have a way to actually actualize our reality by dying. Then I would actualize my reality.
But what if you're wrong? You're like, oh, that reality doesn't exist. Now I can't actualize it.
No, but it will.
See, you can't know that until you die.
I just don't know it yet, but I will one day know in full what I now know in part.
That's not how that verse is supposed to be used.
Anyways,
Biggest argument on the podcast is about an opinion on heaven.
we'll definitely have new games in heaven, though. So
Yo, Catan.
that'd be
But in
crazy.
heaven.
Yeah, but in heaven, real life Catan farming? Question mark.
We should put a poll out that says, do you pronounce it Catan or Catan?
No,
They're spelled the
it's
same.
not. It's not a good argument.
What?
It's just not fun to have.
It's just a poll for fun.
Okay.
Biblically, do we pronounce it Catan or Catan?
Biblically, I
Biblically,
don't know.
how do
We have to. I probably have to go to school for that one. I think.
No, if you look at the hermeneutics behind it.
Go to the root word in German.
And then there's someone says, you mean settlers? And you're just like,
What?
it's like,
Who are you?
yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah.
talking about heaven still. So there's obviously going to be a lot of things about heaven, right? There's going to be angels there, probably. You know, the like.
Well, we might even be on a new earth. So
and we're talking about heaven right now.
you think? Well, I don't believe we'll be in heaven.
Okay, we can talk about the new earth too then.
Okay.
Both of those things.
I was talking to a student over the weekend or last week, and they're like, "What do you think heaven will be like?" I'm like, "Why do you think you'll go to heaven?" And she's like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "Why do you assume you go to heaven?" And she's like, "I'm a Christian." I was like, "So?" She's like, "Well, I'm not going to go to hell." She's like, "Well, are people in?" She says something about people being in hell. I was like, "Why would you assume anyone's in hell right now?" I was like, "No one's in hell." And she's like, "What do you mean no one's in hell?" I was like,
Oh,
it depends. I was like, "Also, no one's in heaven." And she's like, "What?" I was like,
Possibly.
They might be sleeping.
No, possibly.
I don't
no
know.
one's in heaven.
Just like joking.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I was like, "Why do you think
Definitely
you'll
no
spend-"
one's in hell though.
Yeah, I was like, why do you think you'll be spending your eternity in heaven? She's like, well, isn't that what the Bible says? I was like, no. And then she's like, we don't go to heaven. I was like, nope. You don't go to heaven. And she's just
in your opinion.
yeah. Well, I just dragged her along for a bit and then I was like,
Yeah.
it's a new Earth. I think we just go to the new Earth.
Okay. A lot of people would disagree with you.
That's okay.
Like a lot.
They're wrong.
But anyways, we can talk about that later. So heaven, aka New Earth, whatever you want to call it.
Okay, let me clarify.
We're spending most of the time in the New Earth, no matter what.
I think we might spend a short time in heaven, but the rest of our time on Earth.
Yeah.
New Earth.
I would agree with that.
So you don't skip heaven. You just don't. It's like not a waiting
Yeah.
room, but you just go there briefly.
We're there briefly, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I would agree.
Okay.
So we're talking about what the New Earth is gonna be like, right? And what we're gonna do, what it's gonna be like. And like the images in the Bible are very vague and like very poetic, right? So it's hard to take a lot of things from them. When you have pictures of heaven, it's like golden streets, like that's what everybody thinks about.
Gates
right?
made of
pearly
gates, pearly. Yeah, I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, really, a whole gate?
Really?
I know it's not impossible. That means like, you know how big of a clam that has to be then?
Yeah.
That means there has to be an ocean able.
Screw the gate. I want to see the clam.
Yeah, show me this clam. Show me this ocean.
But where's this clam at?
Where's this? Okay, but where? This is one pearl. Okay, but where's the rest of it? Where's the clam? I want to know that thing.
Yeah, so we get very like classic images when we think of heaven, right?
Yeah.
What it's gonna be like, and you kind of think of like this gold city that's kind of like
Streets of gold.
You don't really think of like a modern heaven, right? You'd think of like a heaven that's maybe like I don't know, like 15th century or something like that. Or at least me. I think of like cobblestone roads.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I think of something like super futuristic, like Asgard.
Really? Oh, futuristic. Yeah. I would agree. It's like,
Yeah.
but I don't think like flying things. I don't see that.
No, I think flying things.
But like flying machines or like flying people.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
I think like why not?
See, I think no. In my opinion, that's what I think it will be like. But I think how I usually think of it is like a futuristic Asgard, but just like people couldn't necessarily fly, or there's angels flying around, but there's still like these like old-fashioned paved roads, and there's still like gates and carts and like horses going around and stuff like that.
Like, yeah, I think about that too, and I think like I seriously pray. I'm like, God, I would like to have an Iron Man suit, not a costume, suit, just because I think like why not?
I think you'll be able to make that in heaven.
Yeah, like
I
why
think
not?
You'll be able to.
Why not?
Yeah.
There's no if there's like resources on a new Earth, and we have no sin, then why wouldn't I be able to, with my glorified mind, be able to then be smart enough to figure it out? And I just make myself a suit of armor,
Yeah, I think you could.
fly around for fun.
Yeah.
But what if it's like, oh, you have the ability to fly? Why do you need that? But because I want it.
Yeah. I think you will be able to do that. It's going to be interesting for sure. I don't think it will look like we think it's going to look like, right?
So everything we just said is wrong.
No, I just think that the imagery given in the Bible is less literal than
Could be,
like
yeah.
we could take it to be, right? I mean, there's a possibility that like the gold and all the pearls and stuff is literal.
That could be literal.
Yeah, it could
I wouldn't
be literal.
upset about it.
Yeah, but it's possible that that's just like a very small part of it, and like everything isn't gold, right? There's different imagery, there's different colors, there's different architecture, right? Like I'm sure, like people who are skilled at architecture bring God glory. I can't imagine that there'd be any architecture less beautiful than the architecture in heaven. So I can imagine it's going to be really complicated, right? It's not going to be boring, right?
Yeah.
It's not going to be like symmetrical houses like in rows over and over and over.
Yeah, it'd
You
be
know
like
what I
that
mean?
house by Bellows that looks like a stupid tree house.
Yeah,
That's for sale. And I
Cool.
saw it and I thought, oh, so unfortunate no one's going to buy that.
Dang. Yeah.
I think it's disgusting. Anyways, here's a question for you.
Okay.
Do you think, or two questions, there'll be colors that you can't imagine right now or can't perceive because of your limited eye or your color receptors? And two, do you think there's animals that you can't imagine right now there?
To the first one, I'd say I think there will be things that we'll perceive that we couldn't before. So whether that be colors or sounds or even smells and tastes and stuff like that, I think there will be different things that I haven't perceived before. I don't know if it would necessarily be like seeing different colors, but I think that would be improved. Like our sight would be improved. So who knows? Maybe we can see on different spectrums.
I get to
like
heaven and
that.
still have glasses. It's like, that's unfortunate.
So who knows? I think yes.
Yeah.
If I had to make an assumption, I'd say yes. As for the animals, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's annoying because I've sat there thinking, like, oh, there'll be animals I can't imagine. What would that look like? And I sit there imagining things. I'm like, oh, I thought about it. It doesn't exist. I'm like, frick.
The opposite of the ontological argument.
Yeah. I'm like, if it's possible to exist, it doesn't exist
And
because I imagined
not
it.
exist because I imagined.
Sorry to everyone who didn't imagine that until now. Like, now
I ruined it for everybody. I
that's-
lost the game.
That spider the size of a horse with wings and little human hands on the end of its feet. doesn't exist.
That's so funny.
Could you imagine like a giant spider, but like it has human hands and it walks on all human hands, so it really has 8 times 40
That'd be so
fingers.
creepy. Dang. That'd be rough.
That'd be so weird.
That'd be the worst.
Oh,
I think there will definitely be animals. I mean, you can talk about the creatures that we see around the throne of God. We don't know what those are.
Bear,
right?
eagle, lion, human.
They're not
Just
human.
kidding.
They're not humans, and
They
they're
just said
not
it looks like
angels,
right.
right?
That's the thing. It says it looks like it has the face of a human. So it's like some ethereal, like humanoid created thing.
Yeah.
That's like that's interesting.
Yeah.
And it looks like an eagle,
But not created in the image of God, supposedly.
Right.
Right? Because supposedly we're the only thing created in the image of God, at least from the Bible that we can see.
Right.
But it is something that looks like a human, maybe in form, but has these different body parts, and is a creature, right? It is a created thing that is meant to worship God and give God glory, but we don't see it on this earth.
Right.
Right? So it will be a creation or an animal that we have never seen before.
Yeah.
Right? And it will be in heaven or new earth or whatever you want to say.
Right on.
With us. Or at least around the throne of God. Right? So we can expect that there will be very different, probably really majestic and awe-inspiring creatures in heaven that we've never seen. You could also say and possibly infer that every species that has gone extinct maybe could be represented in heaven. So there could definitely be species that we've never seen before that used to exist that would be in heaven. Maybe some dinosaurs or
T-Rexes look so different than what we imagined.
Could be crazy, dude. Yeah, so heaven is super interesting. I think there's going to be different animals, obviously, from what we discussed and stuff like that. So, it's going to be really interesting.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of other questions about heaven. We didn't really even get into the stuff that I wanted to talk about, but
Right.
I think we can save it for the next episode.
Yeah, so come back next week. We're going to be talking again about heaven. Or I'll just give you a little teaser right now. I'll be asking Derry next question. Will there be jobs in heaven?
Yeah.
Are we going to have roles like we do here where
Yeah.
our job right now is training missionaries and stuff like that?
What's the purpose?
What's the purpose? Are
you
you
have
going to
purpose in heaven?
You're going to be are we going to need lawyers?
Maybe.
Biblically not. But we'll get into that in a bit. So come back next week. Maybe if you like this, not maybe, please if you like this show, share with your friends. We're trying to, change the world for the glory of God and bring God glory and, what else am I saying? Clarity to people's minds and really dive deep into
Answer those hard questions so people can have a well-built faith.
But yeah, if you're like us, be comforted. It's not going to be like a worship service where you're in a pew.
Yeah.
And all the worship leaders said, "Dang it!" Now worship leaders, if you want to do that, I'm sure that you can do that.
Probably can do that. Yeah.
I won't.
Wouldn't be a problem, I don't think.
Sorry, Laura.
Yeah.
She's a worship leader. So
Yeah.
that's fine.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Alrighty.
See you next week.
Adios, amigos.